Happier than ever. I'd believe it a little bit more if there was a slight grin. Just saying. Hello, world of entertainment via internet. This is Y.E.S coming to you with another album review. Today we are going to talk about Billie Eilish's sophomore album, Happier Than Ever. This album, mood-wise, definitely is the first thing that I want to kind of get to, is actually supremely surprising for me. For those of you who have followed my channel know that I liked Billie Eilish's debut album, but I didn't love it as much as everyone else. I thought it was justifiably iconic for what it was because no one is doing music like she is at the level that she is doing it. She's basically carved out her own piece in the world of music, and she's kind of saying, like, this is my spot. And I'm not saying no one can be here, just know this is my spot. Because I'm going to reside here and I'm going to own it. And justifiably style-wise, I'm going to be emphasizing that style-wise, yes, I do think that she is owning it very well. This one still has a lot of elements that are sad and a lot of elements that are mysterious in a way that kind of makes your heart question things in life. But I wouldn't say that it's just pure pop darkness like the first album was for probably the first half. I emphasized in the album, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? I really liked the second half because there was some emotional depth that went into that album right there. A strong majority of the gripes that I would have with Billie Eilish's style is probably more of select lyrical content and, from another point, select production styles. And I'm not 100% sure if I know what that means, if I mean that I don't like the production at all for select songs, or if I mean I don't know if this production along with the lyrical content clashes or blends well. It could be a little bit of both perhaps, but not really 100% sure. In this album, however, I would say that a majority of this blends really well. And I'm actually surprised some of the production styles that they chose here. Billie actually uses at least 3 examples of going more acoustic. And that surprised me greatly in a very positive way. She also has some interesting experimentation with at least one song where it's very clear that she's using auto-tune. She's not hiding it. She's using it for the advantage of the song. Not trying to uplift her voice in any way like some other people would probably assume. Not like that at all. Probably the main thing that I want to talk about or convey to you about this album is that I feel like there's a lot more valid-oriented emotions that it seems like she's trying to convey. It feels like she's going through some growth spurts now that she has found some fame, now that she has a little bit more popularity. A lot of people are presenting their opinions on her, just like here, you know? And in a way, I feel like she's sharing a little bit of how she feels about her closest relationships and a little bit of what she perceives in the world. Certain songs can reflect on this, such as romantic relationships that she has had before, mostly conveyed in the song Your Power. I actually was very taken back by that one. I thought she did a good job conveying what that perspective was going to be like. Another song where I felt like there was a lot of interesting emotions going on in there was Everybody Dies, where in part it seems like it's talking about the mortality of life, and I think it is in a way, but it also feels like it's calling out some of the missing of when simpler times used to be for everyone's life, including hers. And even the very first song, Getting Older, it's very reflective of getting older. Pretty self-explanatory there, but you'd have to go listen to the song and see if you can relate to that in any way. I think I'll highlight 2 songs that I really like, and then I'm gonna just quickly mention 3 or 4 songs that I was like, well, maybe it was interesting, but I didn't really feel like I was going to re-listen to these songs of my own free will and choice. First one I really liked was Billy Bossa Nova. The reason I like this song a lot is because in it, it talks about using aliases. Now, I've worked in hotels for a long time, and I've dealt with the Sundance Film Festival. That's not uncommon for people to use aliases during that time. So I just had to grin when I heard that line and just kind of the overall sentiment of it. Really, really good song. But I have a personal liking to this song in particular. The next song would be Overheated. Topic-wise, this was pretty interesting because it kind of talks about what you have to deal with body idealizing. The overall mood and vibe of the song kind of just make it seem like, you know, it's not really up to other people. I stand by the idea that people should take care of their health, but it is kind of weird when other people are judging you like a lot. There's a lot of gray area if we go really deep into that. But I think from this one perspective, especially for probably females, in a general perspective, it can just be kind of hard dealing with that in an age where we have the internet and people doing a lot of body modifications these days. It's a song in where the topic, I think I agree with Billie a little bit in here. Again, there's a lot of gray area where I felt like if we went even deeper, maybe we would disagree more. I'm not sure. But I think I latch on to the idea of what's being conveyed in this song in particular. Also, this comes right after the track, Not My Responsibility, where also I think I mostly agree with this. If Billie wasn't the one saying it, if I was just reading it, if it was just like a poem that was, you know, published out there, I think I would probably have less mental gripes with it. I have a little just based on some of the wording, but the overall idea of it, I think, you know, I'm probably agreeing with this more than I think. As for tracks that I wasn't a total fan of, I'm not really in love with Oxytocin, even though I like the idea of what the song's trying to go for, but the execution itself is not really falling in my line. Yeah, it's interesting to see the lyrics come from the perspective of the abuser, supposedly. Interesting, but it's a little awkward after a while. I don't know if I can really revisit it. The title track, Happier Than Ever, was interesting at the very beginning with the ukulele, but then it goes into this kind of explosive rock pop kind of style and gets slightly more vulgar, and I'm just like, you know, I don't know if I'm buying this one as much as the others. Probably the most popular track on here is Therefore I Am. I don't really hate this song. I just don't really care about it. I think a lot of the other songs in here have so much more depth and so much more in mind that Billie has been able to successfully convey. So I'm a bigger fan of her deeper tracks here than Therefore I Am. Trying to wrap up this interesting project that she's got here. Overall, I would say musically, overall, once again, she has upped her game a little bit. I don't think this album is going to be as iconic as her first one, but personally, I think that there's a little bit more musical quality and validation that makes me enjoy this album a little bit more, to be honest. I'm sure that there's a lot of people who are going to love this album no matter what because it's Billie, but they'll always say that the first album was better, and I can understand that. But I don't know, I'm really liking this one. I'm not sure if it's necessarily she's going softer or if it's just the fact that, you know, maybe there's just some more depth in her mind as she progressively, you know, grows and gets older. New things pop up. It happens. Trust me, it happens. So after having listened and reviewed this album, I'm going to give production an A, creativity a B, expression and lyrics a C+, and how would I recommend this album? I'm going to give it a yeah/good. So yeah, a little bit higher than the other album, but in the end I know that people are going to have different outlooks on this album and her debut album. But I continue with the idea that I look forward to seeing what she is going to bring to the table. And I think this album deserves a certain kind of praise, and I'm happy to give that here. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow me and my social media links down in the description below, and be sure to leave a like for the video as well as a comment down below if you want to engage with me. And remember, if you want to discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment, be sure to subscribe to this channel so you can get that yes in your life. See you next time.
Love then it comes without a warning, 'cause waiting for it gets so boring. I started walking, there's no reaction, no reaction. Makes me wonder